You're listening to the Intercoastal Podcast, part of the Destination Marketing Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Intercoastal Podcast, where we share the stories, heritage, and hidden gems that make the Lowcountry unforgettable. I'm your host, Daquan Mickens, and today we're exploring one of the most fascinating parts of our region, the Port Royal Sound. I'm joined with Jessica Kochman from the Port Royal Sound Foundation Maritime Center, where she helps lead educational programs that connect people to our incredible marine environment. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to kind of talk about the Port Royal Sound Foundation, what you guys offer, kind of dive into the our area. And like I said, one of the best things about our area is the water.
Definitely. It definitely is. It's so beautiful here, and we're lucky to have this resource where we live.
Yeah. So, and like we have tons of videos and footages and photos. And what I tell people is when you get to Beaufort, first thing you'll notice is the water. So kind of get to know you, Jessica, and what you do. Can you start by sharing your role in the Port Royal Sound Foundation and what drew you to work in the coastal education and conservation?
Yeah, so I'm Jessica, and my role is the naturalist, one of our naturalists. We have a couple on staff, and I'm also our education coordinator. So I do a lot of the educational program planning, stuff like that. And what really drew me to this area, well, I grew up in Ohio, like a lot of people that do live here.
Yeah.
But we always grew up going on vacation. And once I graduated from college, I moved to North Carolina, and I've just kind of been making my way down. But it is so beautiful here that it's hard not to want to be in this area.
Yeah. It's definitely a lovely area. And especially with you growing up north, you don't have to worry about the cold as much.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of gets you out of that environment, get you into the warmth of the South and that Southern hospitality. Mm-hmm. Have you felt that when you first came to Beaufort and kind of that first experience in the South?
Oh, yeah. Everyone is super friendly here and welcoming. And I think people are really excited to live here and want to share their hidden spots or what's so awesome about this place. So yeah, it's a great place to be and live.
Yeah. And how long have you lived in Beaufort?
I've lived here for over 6 years now.
Okay. So right around the same time I've been here.
Right.
So right after COVID, a little bit before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got to experience the full aspect of Beaufort growing and kind of the change. And then, one thing about Beaufort that doesn't change is the water and the people. It's always welcoming and a great experience for anybody who comes.
Yes, I agree.
So for the listeners who may not be familiar with the Port Royal Sound, can you tell what makes it such a special and unique ecosystem for the Lowcountry?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So obviously the water, it is something that makes us really unique. If you were to look at a map of this area, you would just see the large amounts of water that we do have. And the water that we do have, it is salty. It's almost as salty as the ocean. So the amount of water we have and how salty our water is one thing that really does make it unique. And then when you're looking out at the water, you see that beautiful salt marsh that goes with it. And within the Port Royal Sound area, we have about 100,000 acres of salt marsh. That's like around a third of all of South Carolina's salt marsh is just here in our Port Royal Sound. So the salinity of our waters, how much water that we have, the salt marsh that surrounds it, it just makes it an amazing habitat for a lot of critters to live. So we have a really diverse population of animals that we have living in this area. So we see fish, especially at our Maritime Center. We're about 13-ish miles from the ocean. We see fish that are usually living out in the ocean, that far inland. So just a large diversity of animals because of how unique the Port Royal Sound is something that makes it really special.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that like the water that does come in is flowed through the ocean and a lot of the different channels. Like when you drive over the bridge, that is ocean water that kind of gets trapped in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So a lot of visitors don't realize.
Yeah. And when they look at a map, they see, all these rivers that are labeled on the map, but they're not actually rivers. They don't really have that true freshwater start. So it really is just the ocean reaching and moving inland. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of my favorite part about living in Beaufort is when you drive over the bridge or you're just driving, you see water to your right and you see water to your left. Whether it's sunrise or sunset, it's always a great experience.
Oh, yeah. And it's everywhere. I love it.
Yeah. It really makes you appreciate the area that you live in and you get to see it every day. You kind of don't want to take it for granted.
Yeah. And especially if people are new to the area, I think they are just really amazed. Maybe not, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but maybe we're just surprised about how much water there is and how closely we are tied to the ocean, even though we are inland. So
yeah. So what are some of the educational programs or exhibits at the Maritime Center that help people understand the importance of the sound?
So I would say pretty much everything that is in the Maritime Center is tied back to the sound and why it is important. One of our favorite exhibits, and a lot of our volunteers love it as well, is our large map that we have in the Maritime Center, because it does show an overview of the Port Royal Sound, and it shows how the ocean and the rivers and the marsh are connected. And when people are visiting, not from this area, it really helps them kind of tie that all in. But within the Maritime Center, we have lots of exhibits about the local wildlife, of course, the history of the area, the history of the seafood industry, and we have our live critters. And I think being able to see live animals as well really gives you an idea of why this ecosystem is so unique and so special. And like, hey, these things actually live here. So of course our museum and just all the exhibits that it has to offer, but we also do field trips with students, and most of the activities that we offer with our field trips are somehow tied to the Port Royal Sound, whether we're going on a nature hike, going into the marsh, or teaching the students about different threats that might be threats to this area, or once again, showing them animals and they can interact with them. So we try to offer lots of different programs, especially educational programs, that incorporate the importance of why this sound is here.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts when I do come into the Port Royal Sound Maritime Center, is the exhibits. And when you walk in and you see the giant shark,
the megalodon, yeah,
and you see the fish in the tank, and you see the pictures on the wall of the history. There's so much education. Even for an adult, like for students to kind of come in and get that experience and get to learn about the sound, it's incredible, and a great museum that you guys do have.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try to especially have a little bit of something for everyone in there, no matter your age or what your interest is. So we like to have something for everyone.
Yeah. And who cannot like seeing the alligators or the snakes or the turtles? It's just a great experience, like you said, for everybody who's involved. If you walk in, you're going to enjoy it and have a good time.
Yeah.
So you work closely with local schools and community groups. How do you see young people connecting with the sound through these programs?
For a lot of the programs that we offer, sometimes it's the first time these students are doing that certain activity. So it might be the first time a student actually gets to go into the marsh, or it's the first time a student has held a snake or touched a snake. So I think one reason they're so important is because they are providing those kind of firsthand experiences. But once again, we do try to tie everything back to the Port Royal Sound and why it's important. But they do get a lot of firsts, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I remember a fifth grade trip that I took to a barrier island. I think it was in Charleston. And a lot of people in the state go there, stay the night for like a 3-day weekend, and then come back. And just that memory of getting in the pluff mud and experience and just being outdoors, especially for me, I didn't really grow up outdoors in that environment besides like on the street in my neighborhood. But to kind of get that wilderness experience is something that stuck with me still to this day, that I can talk with friends or anyone else who had taken those trips. Yeah. We still talk about it to this day. And it's definitely, like you said, a life-changing experience, giving somebody their first.
Yeah. And we do try with most of the experiences that we offer for them to be hands-on. So we want people to be in the mud or to be out on a kayak or dissecting something. So we want it to be hands-on, and then, they get that fun experience.
Yeah. So for those who are listening, if you're coming to Beaufort as a visitor or you're a local here and you're looking to kind of get that experience, or you've never been out in the wilderness, or you've never been in the Pluff mud, or you're looking for your first experiences, the Port Royal Sound Foundation can still offer that to you as you come to the center and the museum to kind of get that same experience. And you can learn and take it into your backyard as you do live here or visit here.
Mm-hmm.
The Sound is home to so much marine life. Could you tell us about some of the species that capture visitors' attention, or maybe your favorite creature of yours?
I think one critter that's always going to capture visitors' attention is obviously the bottlenose dolphins. Mm-hmm. And we actually have our own, well, I wouldn't say our own, but in the Lowcountry, there is a unique species of bottlenose dolphins, the Tamanins bottlenose dolphins, which is really cool. So I think they're one of the ones that are always going to capture visitors' attention and get them really excited. And they are awesome to see, but I like some of the other less obvious critters. And one of my favorite by far are the diamondback terrapins, and we do have a couple in our Maritime Center. We've got, who do we have? We call him Two-Face, we have Captain Nemo, and we have Michelangelo, so our 3 diamondback terrapins. And they're a species of turtles that live only in the salt marshes. Mm-hmm. So their habitat is brackish water, so that mixture of fresh water and salt water. And before I moved down to Beaufort, I knew about them. I didn't really ever get to see them in the wild, but since I've been here, I have got to see some in the wild. Sometimes some will come and lay eggs in the gardens around our Maritime Center. But they're such a beautiful species that I don't think people realize are in this area. Yeah. So they're one of my favorite. Of course, I love the gators. They're so fun to see, the American alligators. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I don't know, there's just so much. The birds, the fish. So it's hard to pick one, but I definitely do lean more towards the diamondback terrapins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's so much wildlife, it's hard to pick one. Mm-hmm. And no matter how many times you see it, I've seen turtles, I've seen the alligators, I've seen, like, from baby alligators, I've seen massive alligators, I've seen the dolphins multiple times. And no matter how many times I see them, I kind of like not freeze up, but you're just in shock and awe.
Yeah, and you take a moment to appreciate them and to see what they're doing out in the wild. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too. Just the birds, and even down to the oysters in our area that help, flesh out and clean the water.
Yeah.
Everything has a purpose in the ecosystem. And like I said, it's when you see it, you just kind of just take a step back and be like, wow, I'm actually lucky that I'm seeing this again.
Yeah.
Not just the one time, but that I'm able to see this.
See it again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of just Beaufort as a whole from beginning to end. When you come here, you'll see something that you're not usually accustomed to. Mm-hmm. And even if you live here and you are accustomed to it, you still get that awe feeling.
Seeing them, yeah.
So conservation is a big part of what the foundation does. What are some of the current initiatives of the partnership focused on protecting the environment?
So one of our big initiatives with conservation is focusing on the health of our waters and water quality. So we are now working with volunteers, with professors and students at USCB, even with different conservation organizations, the Department of Natural Resource, county, you name it. We partner with a lot of different organizations. But the health of our waters is that big initiative. So we started a program recently with our staff and our volunteers, and like I mentioned, those other partners, to go out throughout the Port Royal Sound area, throughout this watershed, and to collect different water quality samples. And then those samples that do get processed in the labs at USCB, and then different decision-making organizations, whether it's, the government or the county, the city, other conservation organizations. They're using that data to make decisions about what will happen in and around our waters. So definitely the health of our water and that water quality is one of our big initiatives right now that we're focusing on.
Yeah, and for visitors, kind of wondering, does that necessarily mean the water quality is bad, or you're just trying to improve it, or how does that work?
So it definitely doesn't mean it's bad. And we always, I believe most organizations that are conservation minded in this area want to always improve, but it's really just to figure out what is going on in our water, and we want to make sure that it doesn't get any worse. So it's not bad. We have very healthy waters in this area, but we just want to make sure that we're taking the right steps to help keep our waters healthy.
Yeah, and that's always good. Like you said, you want the best for the water. If it's part of our life and part of our living, we want it to be the best that it can be, and know exactly what, if it's going to dip in the next 5, 10, 15 years, or what to project for the future. How do you balance education, research, and fun at the Maritime Center to make learning about nature engaging for all ages?
So, like I mentioned before with our museum, we kind of offer a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
So whether you're visiting the museum or you're coming to do programs on a field trip, we have something for everybody. So usually, especially in the summer months, every Tuesday, we do story time. So those are definitely geared towards our families that have younger children. And then we offer field trips for students of all ages. We do summer camps. We have a lecture series called our Tuesday Talks, where we partner with a lot of different organizations or they speak on whatever they're kind of doing work on at that time. So that can be about rattlesnakes, or it can be about the history of some area. So those are really diverse. We go and speak with a lot of different community groups. So we just try to offer something for everyone of all ages. And with a lot of that, we try to make our programs hands-on, interactive, and we focus definitely on the sound. And it is a mix of that research education. So hands-on, interactive, something for everybody.
Yeah. And like you said, since there's something for everyone, you can start with the basics of what's in the water for a kid so they know. But then you can go into the deep research collegiate level of the biology and how the marine is made up of different ecosystems, and just get in depth of what it offers.
So we can start simple and work our way up and go into more detail about what we're doing.
But what is one of your most memorable moments at the Maritime Center? Perhaps an encounter with wildlife or a visitor experience that stuck with you?
So it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick one, especially being here for 6 years now. It might not seem like a long time, but definitely some really awesome experiences. I think for me in general, it is getting those experience with children that are coming out and getting that first time experience, whether it's their first time on a boat or first time going fishing or throwing a cast net or holding a snake. So some of those are really awesome. This year, one of our interns was actually one of our previous campers, and he's now a student at USCB. So kind of also seeing campers that we have and grow and still be excited. And he's going to school for marine biology now. So it's really cool just seeing that as well, and getting to know our campers and getting to know these kids. Not just, hey, you're here for a few hours and then you kind of go on, but getting to know them and getting them to grow their interest is probably one of my favorite experiences too.
Yeah, and something that can start as something like, oh, this is pretty cool, growing into, hey, I kind of want to do this for the rest of my life. That experience of helping someone find that is definitely incredible. And you guys not only are helping people figure that out, but helping them find their path of, you know what, I really like being out here, being outside.
Yeah.
Maybe this is where I want to take my life or career or the direction I want to take. So that's definitely a memorable aspect, and you guys are helping people.
Yeah.
For visitors and locals who haven't been to the Maritime Center yet, what's the best way to experience it for the first time?
Just come on in.
Yeah.
So the Maritime Center, it is free to visit, and we hope to always keep it free for our visitors. And like I mentioned, there's a little bit of something for everybody. So the best way is just to come and see it. And then we do offer a lot of other programs. So like I mentioned, those Tuesday talks. On the weekends, we try to offer a lot of family-friendly programs. So if you have younger children, we offer a lot of programs geared towards them. So definitely stop in and visit us. But then if you like what you see and want to do more with us, I encourage you to sign up for a program, bring your school group, whatever it might be. But a good way to start is just to come check out the Maritime Center.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We drove past it a good bit, and until we were like, you know what, let's just stop in.
Yeah.
And then we started to get work with you guys and kind of get to see it more often. So some people just think, oh, it's a building that's not open, or and you guys have signs showing it's open. So and you can access it from both sides of the road highway.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. And you can also come by boat too. So we have dock space if you want to come by boat.
Yeah.
But just come on in and check out our Maritime Center.
Yeah. And finally, what can we do as individuals or families to help preserve the beauty and health of the Port Royal Sound?
There's lots of different things you can do. A big one is really just kind of caring about this place, kind of thinking about like your consumption and what you're going to do with your trash, try to recycle or compost if you can. So just kind of limiting our impact in that way. But there are lots of different like-minded organizations to us, lots of different conservation, educational organizations. So you can go out and volunteer. I always encourage people just to kind of spread the word and just tell people why you love this place and why it's so beautiful. And hopefully they will gain that respect for the area as well and want to help conserve it and kind of keep it how it is or make it better. So really spreading the word and educate others is a big one too.
And that's why we're here on the Intercoastal Podcast, to kind of spread the word and let people know about the Port Royal Sound and give them that information, whether they're coming for a visit, they live here locally, or they just picked up the Intercoastal Podcast in the other state that they're in. So that's kind of the aspect of what we're trying to do, is give them that information. If you could give us some information on where we can go to look up the Port Royal Sound Foundation, or if we wanted to learn more.
Yeah, so we have our website, portroyalsoundfoundation.org. We're active on Facebook, on Instagram, so we try to keep those all up to date and have some fun content on those as well. But definitely start with our website. And if you do want to come into the Maritime Center, we're open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yes, and those both are great locations to get information on student groups, or if we wanted to plan something for a group or students.
Yep. If you want to plan a field trip, if you want to do a family-friendly program, if you have a different club or organization that wants a speaker to come out, that's all where you can find that information all on our website.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it. Jessica, if someone wanted to know more about upcoming events or volunteer opportunities, they can also find that on your website, correct?
Yep. So we have information about all events that we're doing, and definitely information about volunteering. So we have volunteers that help us run our Maritime Center. We have volunteers that help clean our aquarium. So if you want to get a little, dirty scrubbing tanks, we have volunteers that help us with field trips, with offsite programs that we do. So if you are interested in volunteering, there is more information on our website as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming in and giving that information on the Port Royal Sound Foundation, and give it for locals and visitors that, we let the experts get a hands-on and tell their story of Beaufort in the Port Royal Sound. So thank you again for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it, and we're happy to help spread the word about Beaufort and the Port Royal Sound anytime.
Yes. Well, thank you guys also for tuning into the Intercoastal Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on social media at visit_BeaufortSC on Instagram or at BeaufortSC on Facebook. Like, subscribe, and leave a review. And share this episode with anyone who loves nature, culture, and the Lowcountry. Until next time.
This has been another episode of the Intercoastal Podcast, hosted by Daquan Mickens and the team at Visit Beaufort, Port Royal, and the Sea Islands. Produced by Revolt.